Risk smarter, not harder. Just a few weeks ago, we had a conversation about, is it time to cut back or to take bigger risk? And now I want to talk about, what does it mean to risk smarter? If that is even a thing, can you actually take a risk the smart way, or does that not even exist in business? Is it just for you to throw your cards all in, roll the dice, and just see how it goes? Or is there a way for you to actually plan it out and take a calculated risk? What do you guys think about that?
I need you to reuse it in a sentence.
Risk smarter. I just had a whole explanation.
Can you spell it? Is it a noun?
Being smarter whenever you're doing risk. So actually calculated risk, I think that's probably the best way to put it. Does that actually exist? Or should you just throw your cards in and roll the dice and see where you go?
I think a couple of weeks ago where we had a similar topic that I wanted to build on. We were talking on risk taking, right? Or playing it safe. Or what was the topic? Mm-hmm. It was I felt similar to this one.
Yeah, that's what I said at right whenever we started.
And the idea is yes, I think that there is a lot of consequences if you play it safe. And I think that there's a lot of consequences if you take too much risk. I think it's important to analyze both sides within your business and make decisions based on those calculated risk. I think it's reckless and irresponsible to just do things without looking at projections. We look at a lot of projections here constantly. I think before every decision we make, we look at the pros, the cons, what we're doing now, and what we need to do to move forward. I think that we do a good job at planning for fail-safes. If there's anything that we've learned in our lives, is that whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And even more. Right. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it's going to get worse. And what do you do in those steps, or what do you do in those times? And so those are the times that we focus on, and that's what we're always looking for. So when things go good, and I will say that mindset has a little bit of a downside. When things go good, for me, it's a little uneasy to like feel confident in that accomplishment or happy in that accomplishment, because everything could still fall apart. So you never really get that like easy feeling of, oh, okay, we're done, or okay, whatever. As much as I like project it, as much as I say it, I'm always like, oh, everything's okay, everything's moving forward, everything's fine. And I think the internal battle is really the difficult one.
So not to put you on the spot, but can you give an example of a fail-safe?
Yeah, like personal business.
Just an example, just so we can understand what a fail-safe is.
Okay. I'll give you an example of a fail-safe. And this is what we're going through right now, right? Just putting it all out there. We have signed a lease on a new office space. Huge, right? It's really big. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the greatest office you've ever seen, right? It's awesome.
There's never been a better office?
Yeah, definitely.
And my fail-safe there, right? It was a huge cost to get into there. And the fail-safe is maybe I'll consolidate some of my lesser used offices and move that business towards downtown. So I will eliminate some costs to help with that overhead if that office isn't as productive as I need it to be at the time I need it to be. And honestly, no matter how great our team is, no matter how great I'm recruiting, no matter how well I'm doing everything, I have to start visualizing what that looks like, shutting down maybe the Greenspoint office or maybe shutting down this office, right? And making those decisions into going in that direction, right? And I have to live with those consequences, right? I have to start reaching out to the members that are part of this office or the members and see how they feel or what they think, right? And those are fail-safes. You know, if they put their foot down and say, no, bro, I'd leave the company if I don't have an office 5 minutes from, you know, those are calculated risk. Yeah. I got to take, is the new business I'm going to bring in going to outweigh the old business? And I got to make a decision if I'm moving forward or not, you know? That's an example.
And that's why, and the reason I asked you for a fail-safe is because a lot of people don't know the difference between a fail-safe, you know, and a safety net.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants a safety net. Everybody wants the eject button. Nobody really, when you calculate risk and you make those moves, you set up fail-safes for those exact things, you know, of what you're going to do, what's going to happen, what can happen if I don't make this or make that, you know. I mean, even to the point of, mortgaging your properties, you know, and going and asking for loans from business partners that you wouldn't usually ask loans for, you know. You pull in that favor, you pull in that, you know.
Yeah, you put it all on the line.
You put on the line for it. And the reason that you do that is because you've made the calculated risk and you know that it's the next big move and it's going to take you to that next level. And of course, I'll give you a quote, that I've heard before, and I I still live by that, right? Is whenever it looks the scariest to jump, that's precisely the right time to jump.
Yeah, and I think our properties and things that we have, I think that was our safety net, right? Those are our safety nets. Those are the back. So to tell you, when you're ready to take it to the next level, something that I was taught early in this business is that reinvestment period. Businesses are really successful in a small, in a comfortable period, right? For us, that reinvestment period is there. We're making really good money. We're really happy, really content in where you want to be in life, right? We're there. But as the team grows, we need to reinvest back into the business to get to that next level. Now, it's really difficult because I'm going to be paying double what I've been paying. I'm going to be making double the investment, double, expenses, double everything, but I don't have that double the staff yet. So I'm taking a gamble that I am going to get there. I'm going to double all my expense. I'm going to double all my overhead. It's going to take me a while to get to that point where I'm profitable again. So when you're ready to level up, there's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be a lot of, adversity. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to overcome to get there. And that's where I think people don't understand that reinvestment period back into your business. Right? You constantly have to do it if you want to grow.
Sam, I know that you mentioned earlier that you've made a few transitions within your career, maybe going into other aspects of the business that kind of fall in line in the same sphere that you're in. Was your moves always calculated, or was it just something that you decided to move quickly on and say, I need to make a change and I'm going to do it now?
So I think that if like they were calculated moves, but it was always like some skepticism behind it. Like, well, is it gonna work out? Is it not gonna work out? I went from, and I don't think I touched this on with anybody really. Like I went from a flat fee brokerage to like a brokerage that that was like had a cap at some point in my career, and a lot of people were like, why would you do that? That's stupid, but and at that time I wasn't even producing as much as an agent, but I was doing a lot of off-market deals. And I went to an agreement with the broker, and I told him, hey, you know what, like I'm joining, I want to join because I see what you guys are doing, and I want to be surrounded by that type of people. I want to be in that. So I feel like my production might have not been as big in my first year in that brokerage, but with my off-market deals, I was able to, offset that. And then by the second year that I was on that in that brokerage, I was in the top 10 of the company, like with retail. So I was able to, put my numbers up on retail. And I feel like if I wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't have proven myself that to be like, oh yeah, I can be a top 10 in a company as competitive as that one was.
I mean, that's pretty awesome that I've never heard anybody outside of my company say that, or outside of me and Vic really say that, but a lot of people, that are from flat fees, they try to come and interview with us, and we're like, no, we're not doing that. And they don't understand why. They're like, no, like I can't give that up. It's too much money giving up. They don't see the value in what we have to offer here, And I think Vic does a really good job at selling the value of working with the company here. Whatever you pay is really nothing to the amount of experience and the amount of help that you get, because that's what happens with these other brokerages, the like flat fees, or even with the iBrokers, right? Or the what do you call it, multi-level marketing brokerages, or MLM broker, or the downline broker, right?
Yeah.
The tanda.
Yeah.
What you don't get is you don't get the help. It's essentially one realtor, helping you the way he does business, right? Not a company all committed to a culture, or to a way of doing things, to a mission statement, to a vision, to anything. It's just you and you're the lone gunman.
Yeah, I think it really matters where you are in your career, right? Like if you're flat out broke and you completely absolutely need to be in a flat fee brokerage, like and maybe not broke, but like if you're more, I don't even know how to describe that, but I feel like it really depends on where you're at in your career, where this brokerage might work best for you, or it really depends on that. I feel like personality has to do a lot with that too.
So I have a question, right? Because I asked you in your interview, right? I was asking you, how do you compete, with because it's crazy how many credit repair companies have popped up.
Yeah.
They're everywhere right now, right?
Of course.
And so I know that a lot of them are using TNA to get people to sign up with them, right? And as I asked you, like, how do you compete with that, right? And he said, I'm competing with that. I got great customer. I fix credit. I don't do BBLs.
Yeah, no, that's big. I mean, and I feel like that goes all around in any industry, right? If you're providing a good service, if you're being true to who you are as a brand, as a person, I feel like you shouldn't have a problem selling, or you shouldn't be worried about your competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a niche market, right? Like the person that's gonna come to deal with Sam the realtor is not gonna be the same person that goes to Nate or to Vic. Like it's different people, different personalities get along in different ways. So yeah, I've always like put that in mind, that like not compare yourself to anybody else, and just kind of be like yourself and figure it out, right? But when it comes to risk and stuff like that, like nothing good ever comes out of comfort zones, and I feel like when you get comfortable and what Vic was saying, right? Like, like everybody's making money, you're good in your business, but it comes to that point where it's like, okay, like I need to grow it, right? I need to take the jump. And I feel like if you stay in that place, like you'll plateau and as far as like we know nature, right? Like if water is still, it goes bad, right? So water has to keep going. You have to go with the flow, and you have to get to that point in business too,
So I have a question for all three of you guys, something that I've been running into recently since I'm back on the east side. And just so you guys, the people who are watching, have an understanding here, nobody on this podcast right now has less than 7 years of experience in real estate. It's 7+, right? So before, whenever I first got started into the business, everybody who wanted to get into the business, there's a lot of younger people, right? No responsibilities. It's just themselves. That's what they got to worry about. Very similar to my situation. But now that I'm back into the east side, I'm getting people who have established jobs, or people who had their license at one point, and now they have families. They're 9 times out of 10, especially on the east side, they're the only breadwinner. They have kids. They have a lot of responsibilities. And when they come and ask me about either getting back into real estate or getting into real estate, I don't know how to guide them through the calculated risk of it, because I'm like, well, for me, worst case scenario, I'll go live at my fifth ward property, right? I mean, now I'll eat freaking noodles all day. But somebody who has a family, who has an established career, who has to look after people, and they're the only breadwinner, like, how could you guide them through a calculated risk for them to want to come and be part of this industry?
I think that I don't think it's so much as a calculated risk, right? I think the risk is them staying in their low-level job, or even their job that has a cap until what they can earn, right? They have to wait on performance reviews. They have to wait on somebody to give them a pay raise, and you got to wait. At the end of the day, if you're in real estate, you're an entrepreneur and you're a businessman, and you have a little more ambition. You have a little more, something more pushing you. Your gears go a little different, right? So you're already not that guy. I think you take more of a risk just sitting there thinking about the what ifs. What could have happened? What could have done this? So if you believe in yourself and you are true to your work, and you're willing to put the time in, this business is the best business, I think, in the world. There is there's uncapped, commit. You can make as much commission as you want, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because I sit down with a lot of financial advisors. I sit down with a lot of wealth managers. I sit down with people, trying to start hedge funds and REITs and all these things. And they think it is the craziest thing that we cap a commission that we take from agents. Yeah. They're like, why would you cap them? Why are you giving them all their money? And it's like, that's how this business is. It is, the opportunities are endless here to do everything that you want. So if you're willing to put the work in, you're willing to put the time in, I am confident. I can confidently tell you, you can part-time this job and match your salary wherever you're at.
Oh, yeah.
Part-time this job and match your $60,000, $70,000 a year job. I can tell you with all the confidence. And if you do that part-time, imagine what you could do full-time. Right. So it becomes the calculated risk doesn't become, should I quit my job to do real estate? The calculated risk becomes, how much am I losing sitting at this job versus going out there and getting my money?
Yeah. And I think what Jovani's talking about is that, Jovani doesn't want to tell anybody who's making, $150,000 a year, right? Come work at real estate. The money's, the opportunities are endless, right? He doesn't want to tell them to come, and then they don't make it, right? Because real estate has a high failure rate, sure, and he doesn't want to tell them, hey, come over here, and then they don't make 150,000, and then they're like, oh man, Jovani, I thought you said I can make this here, you know. I think that this is more of a personal feelings, you know. It kind of falls into the whole attitude or the feelings that people on the east side have, right? Which is, if I can't do it, you can't do it, right? You know, but I think that I think that whenever you tell somebody stay at your job, you're essentially just I mean, you're crushing their dream and their opportunity, you know, because they're looking to you and asking you, hey, I know you're making it in real estate, and I know you're doing this. And I told when I started working in real estate, I told everybody and their mother to come work here. And there has been, and when I got into real estate and I helped people get into real estate, some people make more money than me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you know, because you know, different people have different work ethics, and a person, you know, just like Vic always says, you know, a person that's making 150,000 a year has a different work ethic, has a different
mentality,
mentality,
different schedules.
Yeah. He's going to come into real estate and he's going to make money.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we get somebody that's coming from a, you know, 30,000 a year job or a 20,000 a year job and then comes in and makes 150,000. Well, and I'm not going to say they don't, and it hasn't happened. I'm just saying it's not like that. You know, a lot of people don't understand that when you get into this business, you have to work.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconceptions, right? Like everybody sees the white Mercedes and the closing picture, and it's like, oh, like you're making so much money. It's, you know, like that's the biggest stereotype there is as an agent, right? Or as a real estate professional. But I feel like it can be done, but like they have to understand that there has to be like sacrifices to be made, right? So like, yeah, at first you might have to work as soon as you get off your regular job to go show houses and go do, because if you're not showing, you're not out there, you're not gonna make any money, you know. Like you're just gonna sit there, wait for something to happen. Like I've seen it time and time again. Like through my 10 years in real estate, it's like, hey Sam, I just got my real estate license. What do I do? It's like, come work with me. Come on, let's go. Oh no, but I have my job. Oh no, but I have to bartend.
Yeah.
Or I have to do this and I have to do that. But the kids, and then my grandma's dog, and you know, like, I'm putting things in priority versus, you know, like, and it sometimes it's like,
Vic is over there saying like, hey, I'll pick up my kids.
What's wrong with your grandma's dog?
What's wrong with my grandma's dog?
No. And I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying that that's bad, but I think that there is like a lot of you know, or it's like, oh well, Saturday I can't do it because that's the day I sleep in. It's kind of like,
yeah,
you know, like.
Well, I also don't mess up my sleep. I don't know, bro, Sam. I feel like you're not you're not doing a good job of convincing me, dog.
No.
And I think that's the component I feel that I'm missing whenever it comes to people who are asking me this, because whenever younger people ask me, or people that are in my similar situation where you're the only responsibility, I'll tell them all day, you know, take a chance. I've said it previous podcasts. I think you should dedicate 2 years of your life to sales, just so you can get a feel for what sales is. Yeah. I feel like it teaches you a lot. But somebody who has kids, they're the only breadwinner. They have plenty of responsibilities. I'm almost to the point where it's like, bro, you don't need to ask me. You need to ask somebody else who's in real estate who has kids and who has responsibilities, because I don't know how to tell you. I don't know what to tell you whenever.
Jovani's breaking my heart in real time, right? Because there's just to touch base on what Jovani was saying and what you're saying, $150,000 job or in sales, that takes a high functioning individual. That takes somebody that's up early in the morning. They're more than likely in the gym at 5 a.m. You know, like Nate. You know, they're out here in the office at 7:30. First one's in, last one out type of guys. They're not. You don't have to follow them around to ask them to do things. They're doing it because they need to get done. Mm-hmm. They have a certain level of self-starting, a certain level of push through that not everybody has, right? And I'm not talking crap about the receptionists and things like that. I have a lot of receptionist friends, but 9 times out of 10, they tell you they're running late to get their Starbucks and they're not opening that office door at 9 a.m. when it needs to. They're running late. They're doing things. They're worried about the kids. They're worried about the excuses, and they don't care. They don't care other than what they have going on in that moment. Those people only seem to come up with excuses that affect them. And I feel like that also what keeps them in that $30,000 a year job. Yep. You got to break out of that in order to start seeing the opportunities, right? So those people that make 150, different mindset, different personality, different goals, different objectives. They operate in a different level, right? I'm not saying that those $30,000 a year can't. They just have to work into those routines versus the people that are already making. They already used to a certain lifestyle. They're already used to their schedule's already there. Their timing's already there. Everything's already there. So I'm fully confident in that. Now you're telling me that everyone needs to take. What I'm hearing from you is that everyone should take a gamble. Right? Take a gamble and see how it goes.
It's not a gamble.
For 2 years. This is not a gamble. This is a guaranteed way to make money if you follow our sales process, if you follow our SCP frameworks, if you do it the Lion's way, you're gonna make some money. That's my thought process, right? You tell people try sales for 2 years. I tell people you should cold call for 2 years. Cold call 2 years, you'll cold call your way out of never dialing a phone again. And you'll make so much much money, you won't know what happened. Lock yourself in the room. Lock yourself in them. Get disrespected. Get hung up on. Get talked crap to. Yeah. See if you don't wake up in the morning and have a better attitude to Starbucks when somebody asks you about a house. You'll jump on that opportunity instead of getting crapped on the phone. You know? So you got to go through those hard times and you're going to persevere. And if not, then okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you say, you know, like, oh, they're the main breadwinner, I feel like that's even a motivation on its own, right? Like, it's like, oh shit, like I can make this much money. And now I can be home, or I can be home whenever my kids are home, bro. Like I feel like that would be even better, right? Like you don't want to blink and then wake up and like, oh, I have, 20-something-year-old kids now, and you weren't there for their like most of their life, Like I feel like that opens up that door of like the opportunity to be like, I can spend more time with my family, and I can be there, But I do have to take those.
Bro, I'll go back and I'll say it again right now that you're bringing up kids. Today was just a beautiful day for me. It was a perfect day. We had 2 clients, 2 opportunities. It was Jerry, was closing one, a friend of mine's, and my kids know them. We not there. My kids gave them the gifts. They were excited. I had a mortgage title issue at the title company that I had to pop up into with another friend of ours. My kids know. Bro, my kids, they were excited. It was just a fun time. Real estate's all about relationships and connections, and everyone's happy to see me. They're happy to see the kids. We're making money. We're buying. We're hitting milestones. We're hitting people's either buying investment properties, or they're purchasing a home, or they're getting rid of an asset, or whatever the reason is. We're doing milestones here. We're part of people's big moments. It's a happy time. It's a good feeling. It's a good time. My kids get to experience it. They get to experience it. It's all a fun time. It's great.
And Jovani always says that, right? He's like, oh, they have a family. Like I don't like almost like. I don't want to tell them come to real estate, and then they're gonna.
Well, to be fair, I don't talk them out of it.
They're gonna be, they're gonna be. You're gonna have a family. They're gonna suffer or whatever. A person who has a family is not going to suffer. That dude's gonna go out and get it for his family.
Yeah, for sure.
If he is already doing it, he's gonna do it. But I would tell you this. I'm very anti-book. I don't know if you know this, but maybe you probably don't watch my podcast. But I'm an anti-book guy. Right. I don't think you should grab every single book and read it, because not every single book is for you. Your book selection should be strategic, okay? Right. But I did read a book one time, right? I've read several books, but I read a book a long time ago, right? And the book, and I'm not even gonna say what book it is, because it's not for you. You're not,
it's okay.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
This is not a book recommendation.
But essentially, what it was saying was that if you want to be successful, right? You do what successful people do, right? And I remember at that time.
Oh, that's 7 Habits for Highly Successful.
Yeah, he's a typical book it is, right? And the thing is that I noticed that rich people, right, or wealthy people, right? They're not out there, going to Easter egg hunting, wealthy people are not, doing these Labor Day celebrations. Wealthy people are not on the weekends. On the river, floating on the river on spring break. You know what wealthy people are doing? Whatever they want.
Right.
And so that always stuck with me. And so when I started doing, 100% sales, right? So 100% commission sales, right? So I, essentially if I didn't sell anything, I didn't make any money. Right. And when I started doing that, right, I went from an hourly job to doing that. It was like, you have to be here Saturday and you only got Sunday off. So Friday, Saturday, you had to be there. Holidays, you had to be there. I remember Christmas Eve, they would let you out Christmas Eve at noon. And you had the Christmas day off, and then you had to be back the next day if it wasn't a Sunday. And I remember that, my wife was like, oh my God, and like family, like, oh, you're not going to come to the, we have a party Saturday. We have this, we have that, Labor Day, Memorial Day, all these days. I had to work those days because that's when people were off and they were there trying to purchase what I was selling. Right. And so what I did was I learned to do everything opposite of what everybody else was doing. and I got to like it. I got to really love it. I float the river when there's nobody on the river. I go to the mall when nobody's at the mall. I go to restaurants when it's not jam packed. You know, I did everything whenever it wasn't everybody rushing to do something because they had time off. And because of that, my life is so different than everybody else's. I'm not tied down to obligations like that. You know, my obligation is my family and you know, trying to build real wealth, not insurance wealth. And you know, I try to really help others gain the same success that I have received, right?
I want to know why the insurance people got a job right now.
The insurance
Dude,
people
everything's
got it.
so high.
Hold on. This wasn't the topic, and we don't have another hour to go on this, bro. But yeah, you know, if you're MLM, you know, insurance, bro, it's a scam. You're not building wealth. They're building richness for their pocket. You know, I would, and I'm just gonna give you this advice: don't ever buy insurance from anybody who has you know, luxury clothes, monogrammed, you know, shirts and stuff all over their body, okay? Because that's not a wealthy person. Just saying. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna throw away my monogram shirts.
I just bought one.
I'm finally gonna donate the Burberry when I work.
You can buy a
shower.
you can buy a house from one of those guys, but yeah, don't trust your wealth to it.
I'm sad I never bought a Burberry shirt for the gender reveals.
No, yeah.
As long as the monogram is not bigger than a quarter, you're fine.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true.
I don't know. I think Vick told you, right? You know, we used to do credit repair.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I used to do credit repair, and then Vick started doing credit repair.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vick's. I know he had a few situations where people, you know, kind of gave him a hard time. But I remember when I was doing credit repair, people would kind of look down on me and be like, no, they don't. You're. I guess like they felt like I was like hacking some kind of computer or something and fixing their credit. And it was like, no, I'm not doing that, you know. And so people were like, oh no, you know, that's fraud. You know, if you're helping them fix their credit, you know, these people shouldn't have, you know, credit like that. You know, I work hard for my credit, and you're just over there, you know, getting them good credit by I guess I don't know. People would just say crazy stuff back then.
I think it's part of not understanding the system, right? Not understanding what's going on. So whenever you don't understand something, then oh no, that's a scam, right? If a regular realtor off the street, you know, you go and you ask them about wholesaling, they're gonna be like, oh, it's that sounds completely like a scam, and it's kind of like, no, it's pretty legit. We've made money off of it, you know, like we've made a lot of money off of it, and like we've helped investors and we've helped people get out of bad situations. So it's not a scam. It's like, oh no, you should always do the transaction the way that it's supposed to be done. Like, no. So they don't understand it. They think it's a scam. So I think that goes into like, oh, like I don't understand it. Like I don't have a grasp of it. Then that's why I'm skeptical about it. But yeah, like
I think credit repair, just to explain it from my perspective, credit repair is no one's going to do your job for you, right? So a lot of things are supposed to drop off your credit report in a certain amount of time. Right. They're not going to do it without a push, right? So you got to take care of yourself. You got to put yourself first, and you got to make sure to remind them to remove those accounts. So the accounts get double sold and things, and you have, you know, 2 collections for the same thing. That's an error. Those are errors that you're correcting, right? Those are different things that you're doing to take care of yourself that no one's going to do for you. This credit company isn't, you know, conscious of you specifically and is going to fix your issue because they're just such great people, right? It's just automated systems, automated computer systems doing, you know, what they need to do. And you need to nudge them and you need to, you know, take care of those things. So even if I was a piece of crap, you know, when I was 18 years old, you know, I'm 25 years old now and I'm better, right?
Yeah,
or whatever the reason is. And now you have an opportunity to improve yourself. And I think that, I think anything that you do to take care of yourself is important. I do think that self-care is important, and I think financial self-care is the best kind of self-care.
For sure.
Well, I was never a piece of crap. I always paid my bills, but for some reason, right? When I was like I was probably about 20 years old when I started like trying to get credit and stuff like that. I guess when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I bought an engagement ring at Zales. I have no idea how.
Yeah,
and
you definitely did.
Yeah,
that.
and then also it seems that I I didn't pay my light bill when I was 2.
Yeah.
So,
That is also.
it was, just, I don't know, just this is a bunch of stuff on my credit,
Your credit.
It's just things that you deal with, living on the mean streets of Old Baytown.
No, yeah, for sure. And then, and you
I
see
sold-
that happening, Like
I
you
sold
see
my
that.
social 4 times at Tia Pancha.
Actually, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You gotta get money, bro. You got,
Yeah, somebody
people do.
actually, when I did my taxes, when I was about 20 years old, I did my income tax, and somebody had already been reporting with my social, and also when I got my unemployment, I had no unemployment money, and I was like, what? I said, I've never pulled unemployment. This is the first time, and so I don't know. I guess back then
That's
it
that's
yeah.
part of credit repair. That's definitely an identity fraud, and you can actually get like a whole new social and stuff up.
I was
Off of that.
I was freaking out a couple years ago because they had an ITN. I kept getting this PIN number from the IRS sent over to my house, and it was coming in certified mail. And I was like, bro, what the hell's going on? So I was freaking out about the IRS. And I finally get the PIN, and they send me 3 checks from Michigan for like 8,000, 9,000, and somewhere in between.
At that point, it's yours to keep. Right?
Yeah, and these dudes, I guess, were using the social and were trying to file taxes and getting their rebates, and they were sending them to me because obviously I pay my taxes. So I was like, bro, what is this?
like an
That's
American,
pretty
right?
Yeah, like a red-blooded American.
Right. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, but you see some crazy things in credit. Honestly, like one of the biggest things that I always see is like people with secure cards. They don't understand the concept of secure cards. It's like they're like, oh, it's my money. Why is the bank charging me to keep my money? It's like, no, the bank is securing their money with your money, right? So they're gonna charge you. It's a bank. They're here to make money, right? So I've had it so many times where people have secure cards and they're like, well, I stopped paying it because like I didn't even use it and they were charging me. I'm like, you're trying to build credit and you just messed up your credit horribly, and now we have to go and talk to the bank, see what we can do about it. And yeah, like I've seen it so many times. It's like, oh, well, it's a secured card. It's my money. It's like, no, bank's trying to lend you money on your money just to secure theirs.
So Sam, talking about taking risk, and also to go ahead and close out here, whenever it comes to credit repair, how can somebody not just pay their money to somebody who says they're doing credit repair and actually get it done? Like, how can they find somebody who's actually credible,
Reputable.
Yeah.
to fix the credit? Because it is a saturated market.
It is a saturated market, but I would ask, like how, like, and the biggest thing that I've been asked, and I think that's where I tell people, hey, I might not be the person for you, is like people are like, how long is it gonna take for you to drop my credit to get to this point? I don't know. Why? Because the credit bureaus take 35 to 45 days to reply to the request that you're sending. So if somebody's telling you, oh, we're gonna have it ready to go in this amount of time, that's not true. They don't know that.
Yeah.
Like transparency is the biggest thing. It's like, it's not a true tried science. Like, we're gonna dispute until we drop, right? But it's never gonna be like, oh, in 3 months your credit's gonna be great. It wasn't overnight that you messed up your credit, so I don't expect it to go overnight. Now, if you have absolutely no credit and you follow what we tell you to do, like, your credit should be good, pretty fast.
That was an issue back then too. That you were always competing with other people. That'd be like, oh no, I'll change your credit right now. Now. I could get your credit points up in XYZ and try to get like guarantees. And I was like, how? And a lot of times what they would do is they would take you off that whole mailing list from the credit cards, and that would boost you a little bit. And they would do.
Thought of credit offers get 15 points, baby. Right now, what's up?
Yeah, you see,
$20.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And, but banks
that's how Vick stole my business, bro.
Yeah.
No, but that's big, and banks know that you're doing that, right? Now, unless it's like a family member that is really like that you're an authorized user for a credit card or something like that, you might get away with it. But you getting add on to a credit card that's like from somebody in California, you live in Texas, it's kind of like, it's kind of weird, right? But yeah, I mean, I would say that, like, look at the transparency. Like, a lot of people lock you in for contracts. For us, it's like, we're here to help you. We ask you, give us, a couple months to see results, but you can cancel anytime. You're not held by any contracts with us. Like, you can't cancel And again, that's what we do. We want to thrive in transparency, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that people like. They want to sell you this dream of like, oh, I'm gonna delete everything off your socials. It's practically impossible unless they have like somebody like in the bureaus that like that, and that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
How do we find those guys?
How do you find
Right.
those guys?
I mean, I wish if y'all know, let me know.
So real quick, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. We used to have some people that were difficult to work with as far as credit repair, even when they had legitimate claims, or legitimate paperwork to show that they weren't that wasn't theirs, or that they had whatever reason, right? We would help them take things off their credit. Who are the toughest credit cards to work with? The toughest mortgage companies to work with? And who is the toughest collection agency right now?
Man, right now, I feel like I've gotten along. What's it called? I've gotten a lot of problems with like Capital One.
That's the same one. That was Capital One's always been a jerk.
They're like first reaction is they're gonna send you a letter that they're suing you. So that's the biggest one. Like it's really hard, but at the same time they can be kind of easy to work with. It really depends on what mortgage companies. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I think maybe like LVN. I think it's what it's called. I'm not very sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, collection
Isn't that
agencies.
like a nursing degree?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't.
What collection agency right now is the toughest to deal with?
The collection agencies. I don't think I know like
a specific one that's doing.
No.
You said they're all difficult if you ask me.
Yeah, it's really hard to deal with the collection agency sometimes, but they're like stubborn, and they don't have the backing of having the original contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that makes them that makes us our process a little bit easier to remove.
Yeah.
At the time that they get in collections, they've handed the debt a couple of hands in hands. So. Yeah.
All right, guys, there you have it. If you're looking for credit repair, we have someone here, Sam, who is trusted. Sam, if you want to let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm on Instagram as Sam Linares, and my what's it called? My business is More Credit Solutions, and the username for that is More MOR3 Credit, and we're on Instagram.
Vic, you want to go ahead and exit out?
My name is Victorino Cortez. I am the president here of Lionsgate Realty. We are hiring. We are excited to bring new agents on. I am about to start calling and recruiting your top agents. So, no Nate said no, but I am.
Watch out.
Nate?
I'm Nate Balderas. I'm the master broker here at Lionsgate Realty, and we are not going to recruit your top agents because they already have bad habits that we don't want to deal with. So yeah, you can find me on all my social media outlets at Better Call Nate.
We're not going to recruit him because they're going to come willingly.
Yes.
All right, guys. And I'm Jovani, the host here at HBR. You can find me on Instagram as Jovani_Frank. Until next week.